We are ready to party.
They're classy too, man. I can wear this on a date.
People who are most successful are the ones who don't just give up.
We have officially partnered up with Albemarle Paper Supply. Albemarle Paper Supply services paper products within the cities of Charlotte, Concord, Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Salisbury, Morrisville, and smaller cities in between. From fiber, plastic, and foam bowls, paper towels, tissues, napkins, takeout containers, gloves, to janitorial supplies, and much, much more, Albemarle Paper is dedicated to bring you the paper goods you need. Customers can pick up products directly at Albemarle Paper's warehouse located at 735 Henson Street in Albemarle, North Carolina, or products can be delivered to you at your business doorstep. Today's live is also brought to you by CL Driving School. CL Driving School is a truck driving school located in Indian Trail, offering programs for both commercial Class A and Class B licenses. With your choice between automatic and manual transmission, their classes consist of small group trainings with one instructor per truck. Training is available on weekdays, weekends, and evenings. Not only do you receive classes, but opportunities for sponsorship programs, recruiter visits, and job placement assistance also occurs. CL Driving School is also trilingual with classes offered in English, Spanish, and Arabic. Register for classes today by calling 704-821-1111. So you
in 90. Here we go.
Good to see you. You mentioned a lot about feeling like the team has underperformed. Would you say that the team was performing in spite of Miguel being the coach, or was he actually improving anything?
So that's a good question. For me, the team performed because, first of all, we have great characters, players that wear a good head on their shoulders, plus I'm missing the word now. Sorry, guys. Plus, you had this. You need to help me, guys. You can help. You can help me out with that. When something new, it was just the whole excitement of being a part of a new franchise, right? I think this goes a long way. The problem is then when this wears off, where does the team stand? Who are then the real characters to show and perform, no matter if it's good, bad, or raining or the sun is shining? And I see everybody on that field working their behinds off.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of the MLS Corner, the best corner in all of MLS. Boys, what a week we have had. What a week we have had. I don't think I've ever worked this hard for free for a long, long time. I got a very, very special packed show today for you guys, and I had to bring an arsenal of people in today to kind of share with you all our findings, what's going on with Charlotte. So I'm going to start with our writer, a man who did an amazing job, who spent so much time developing this story with me, my man, Brian. Brian, how are you, my man?
Feeling awesome. Like I was like really nervous this morning, like right before we posted the article live, and just like kind of clenching the armchair, like anticipating a lot of pushback from the social media and from Twitter, and was really kind of like overwhelmed by how much enthusiasm people had for the article. I was like taken aback and surprised and just overwhelmed. Like, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm like super pumped.
100%, man. And a guy who doesn't also light up the room, but also darkens it, apparently.
Yeah, I don't know. My light just went out. Like a bulb just burst or something, man. I'll fix it here in a minute. What's up?
We've got Lee from CLTFC Fan TV, who comes at you from his dark corner.
Yeah, it's been a dark week, man, for Charlotte FC, man. You know, it's like, as we move forward, right? Jorge brings the light, man. So shine it on me. There you go.
I love it. And we had to bring in again my man Voss. This time he's not working. but he is at his house. Voss, how are you today, my man? Thank you so much for coming back on, bro. We really appreciate you.
Thank you guys so much for having me back on. It's always a pleasure to share the corner with you, share the mic, talk all things both Charlotte and Red Bulls. And yeah, it's good to not be, within the confines of a restaurant trying to jumble just like conversation and noise in the background. So good setting this time. And Lee, it's fitting, man. I can't believe the light went out as we're trying to talk some crazy little topics that might be a little dark. So that's amazing. I love it. Couldn't have written any better.
No, it was perfectly planned by me. I got the script and going by, and Jorge's giving me these eye signals, and then I need to turn the light out. It worked.
Nice, awesome.
And so Brian, pleasure. I'm sorry to cut you off, Jorge. Brian, pleasure to actually just see you and share the mic with you, because I have seen you on Twitter. So good to finally put a voice on the face.
Yeah, man. Same to you. I've actually listened to a couple of your episodes, and they're fantastic. So I'm glad to be working with you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we've got to get into it, man. And it's been a week since the Miguel Angel Ramirez sacking. We have spent a lot of time last week, talking to a lot of people, figuring out, because what we're trying to get to was the truth, man. The closest possible to the truth. Obviously, things from the Charlotte FC camp, they want to talk about things that favor them. Obviously, Miguel's camp, the same. Obviously, the neutrals maybe just have somebody that they like. But what we wanted to do is give you guys the most information that we wanted. And honestly, guys, there was so much stuff that we heard that I just didn't even feel comfortable sharing, just out of respect for Charlotte FC, out of respect for players, out of respect for staff, and out of respect for Miguel Angel Ramirez as well. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, some of the stuff that we left out are some stuff that could really be damaging for a lot of these people, man. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. I want to talk about our findings in uncovering why Miguel was sacked. And anyone who read the article that we put out, I'd like maybe your thoughts on it and what you got most out of it. And so I guess I'll start off with you, Lee, since you're kind of a neutral to it.
A neutral? Well, apparently, according to everywhere else, I'm a mouthpiece for the club. I mean,
yeah, we are too.
Yeah. I mean, Tuesday was a shock for us all, right? At least in Charlotte, right? And I made a personal decision not to say too much on it until I kind of had a chance to kind of weed through it. At first, I was like, I retweeted right away, like, Teppa, what the fuck you doing? Like, why? And then the more you kind of started peeling back the onion and talking to people and everything else, it was like you could tell there was more to the story. And then, poor Carroll was blamed for being the DP that caused all this ruckus, which we knew last week that it wasn't him. I mean, even Fuchs' interview today said that, it was multiple players and, that sort of thing. And so, we tried to dispute that online so that it didn't get carried away and that rumor didn't just grow. But my God, I just got tired of typing back and forth to people that, like, look, I have no reason to be the mouthpiece for the club. I'm doing this because I want to be a fan of Charlotte and get fan content out, not to be a yay, Charlotte everything. Maybe now we can do a Miggy Smalls out sort of episode.
And listen, there was something that Brian really highlighted that I saw a lot last week in talking to people, man. Like, you know what? Like, while all of us were out here like saying, yo, how awesome is it for Miguel to, like, be so honest about his roster buildup, be so honest about, like, what I'm saying, where he's at and, like, him overperforming. But I'm like, bro, a lot of people within the club were really hurt from that statement. Obviously, like, the Zorons of this world and David Tepper, but there's people that, like, scouts and other people that put a lot of time and effort into getting players and, like, scouting and doing a lot of these things. And even one instance that I heard that I'll share was, like, someone actually had COVID and was still looking through players and sending them to, like, still doing their job. And for them to hear that Miguel comes out and says that, like, that really, like, I'm like, wow, this is a very different perspective. You know what I'm saying? To kind of put down the people that you've been working with. It's one thing to do it internally, right?
Yeah.
But like when you come out with these things and it's not a sentiment that everybody feels, you're already starting to build that friction from the get-go as well, you know?
Well, yeah, there's that. And then, I mean, we've all complained about the away games, right? And how bad we look on the road. And just hearing Fuchs saying that he's not addressing the team at halftime or after the game or anything. It was just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, that's not what a coach should do, right? But
100%, bro.
yeah, win, lose, or draw, right? You talk up your team like we do behind the scenes on this, right? Before we go live, we're like giving everybody, high fives, and we're playing a lot of house music, man, and then we go live.
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. And give us your perspective, man, on what you read, what you've seen so far. But I mean, because I mean, from the outside looking in, and even at the beginning of the week, man, all of us were shocked. Like, whoa, what's going on? And you know what? Even listen, after hearing stories, like it was still difficult for me to believe, and difficult for me to believe. I was even telling Brian through the week, I'm like, bro, like, I don't know why, but I still doubt. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, when we put out this piece, like, and that's why I fair to Brian. I was like, bro, a lot of people are gonna think we're club guys, but at the end of the day, man, when a lot of people's stories line up, when you see what's going on, like it really gives you. It's very, very eye opening. You know what I'm saying? So Voss, give us your thoughts, man.
I mean, I couldn't have thought of a better analogy than peeling back the onion that Lee just used, because it's literally, I initially thought that Miguel is the man for the job. I've always liked his approach to the game, from an outside source looking in. I always thought that, the players liked him, and from my co-host having followed his career out in Ecuador, their initial response was like, this guy's amazing. He won them a title, with a very shoestring budget. So I was just thinking like it all work out. So having read like some of the complaints that he was having to say about like the amenities of the league, of the team itself, the whole plastic. I know someone just mentioned it in the comment section, but when the players had to have like their meal on a plastic plate, and he was like throwing a fuss about that. I'm like, dude, what kind of toxic guy is this? Like, it was completely like 180 from what I thought he originally was. So
Bro, two different people mentioned that story to me, and I didn't even ask about it. Like they particularly remembered that story. I was like, wow, like that's really interesting. That it wasn't like, man, I've heard about this. No, they both,
exactly, yeah, it was
they both had a
reiterated.
way to mention that story, which I thought was really interesting.
So yeah, I just, from the co-hosts of mine who had followed him, who supported him during his time in Ecuador, all great things. And much like what's being brought up right now with the locker room being split, some people saying that half the team was with him, half the team was without him. A lot of my Brazilian friends who followed his career in Brazil were like, this guy is trash. Like, you're already starting off on the wrong foot by hiring him. And all of us were like defending him, like kind of blindly, I'm like, who the hell is this? Like, I know my friend's Kayo, like the great guy, former guest on the podcast, but he just was bashing the guy. And I'm like, where does it come from? And you just notice a pattern of his hiring and firing rates the last few teams that he's been on. And it just kind of paints a bigger picture, because when a man's not lasting for 3 months in multiple jobs, it's not just the club. It has to be some sort of accountability. And one of the things that I've noticed, like you guys are just saying, like he never took any accountability. It was always blaming the front office. It was always blaming the players, always blaming the fact that he had, not enough roster compliance with how he wanted to build his team. So it was a crazy week, like I said, from an outsider looking in, and informative piece today that you guys released. Yeah. I don't know why a lot of people would try to say you guys are clubmen. Honestly, it's reporting what is there, like
yeah,
that's what it is.
I mean, I even understand why people would say that, man. But I'm like, bro, like if you talk to the people that I talk to, if you listen to the stories and you just see how these people genuinely felt, and it wasn't like, okay, like, because I always also too like keep my eye out. I'm like, okay, who exactly am I talking to right now, right? This is a club person, they have the best interest for the club, but like when you hear like different scenarios from different people that don't even like work together on a daily basis, that's very, very eye-opening for me, at least,
And I think
it's true too, Voss, about like it's really interesting that some of the comments from some of the Brazilian fans today were like, "Yo, this is exactly what happened here, right?"
We were warning you.
That's
Yeah,
kind
quite
of,
literally, because they were the first ones to message us, like, what did we tell you? What were we saying? And I'm
Right.
like, dude, they couldn't have scripted it any better.
Hey, eat
100%.
crud.
Brian, man, give us your thoughts, bro. Because I mean, you've been kind of on the inside with me, man. Every time I had like new information, I ran it by you. We were putting things together, bro. You probably spent more time talking to me than your wife this week, to be honest. Give us your thoughts on the whole scenario and your piece today as well, bro.
Yeah, I think there's two main things that stick out to me, especially after seeing the Fuchs presser, was how disconnected it seemed like Miguel's feelings on the team were from the captain's feeling of the team were. Like Fuchs seems to the players seem to feel like they're a tight group and a very capable group. Just by his presser today, it sounds like they feel very capable of the job. And then from everything Miguel constantly said from preseason on, and I think giving him 3 months is almost at this point, like almost them being lenient. Like if you're saying those things in preseason and putting your team down like that early on, I mean, it was looking back on it, even though at first when the story broke, I was kind of shocked. Man, I feel like the more that's come out, it seemed like this was almost lenient, giving him this much time, and kind of it added to the heat the front office was going to take at the end. And I think the other piece is like closure, like whether our article that provided some, I think really Fuchs's presser provides a whole lot of it. And I think that's what the fans needed more than anything, because
100%.
when the story broke, everybody was shocked, confused, what's happening. We just looked pretty good against Seattle. A lot of people were talking about that performance and how aggressive we looked at times to go into Seattle and play like that. And then to see this story break and then see the press conference that Zoran had and just being like, I think that those instances and the way that lined up left a lot of fans lost. And I think over the course of the week, as more was revealed and Fuchs's presser really helps provide that closure for fans and for the team.
That's what the fans needed. Exactly what you're talking about, that closure. From now on, whenever some negative news needs to be put out, bro, send out Fuchs, man. You know what I'm saying? Because Zoran made all of us doubt. Like his presser did not help at all. Fuchs kind of gave us that like feeling like, bro, finally we just needed some answers from people. Obviously our team did too, but it's really, really good seeing a player go and speak like that. And that shows not only the leaderships that Fuchs has as a Premier League winner, but also it sounds like in the future he wants to be a coach, right? And like he's learning from these things and these experiences as well. And like kudos to him for coming out and actually confronting and saying some of the things that the fans have been like wondering about. It kind of takes that speculation out, like someone just said in the comments, and gives us kind of that closure that Brian was talking about. And I just want to give a couple of thoughts from myself as well, just from all the findings that I had and everything like that. Like, I think it's really telling, first of all, how Miguel did not want a 3-year contract, And so like that, to me, that's the first sign. Like, first of all, you're in an MLS expansion team, right? Like, what do you expect in a year to make miracles and then bounce? Like, no, right? And I put some blame on the club as well. That should be a big red flag for you for a coach not to want to sign for 3 years, right? Yes. Secondly, I don't think Miguel lost the whole locker room, but I think he lost a lot of the key players, right? Because for 10 to 12 of them to still go to his house and, wish him well. And one of the players I talked to said he genuinely felt shocked that it came, right? It goes to show you that he didn't really lose everybody, but I do think he lost the key players, right? And when you lose the key players, and like Fuchs said today, you don't know how to communicate well with people, or even if your style of communication is different. Like he's like, bro, we're a young team. There's a lot of young players in here, and they need you to come in here and be more like the person that you show us, the caring, the hugging people, the, like being such a fan favorite. Like you need to show that to your squad mostly than showing us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a lot of Jekyll and Hyde for sure, man. I mean, from what we learned about him over the last 7-8 days, right, to what the impression was in the public eye was completely different. Get Conte's name out your damn mouth.
Nah,
Sorry. Yeah, that's what we're talking. Yeah, whatever,
awesome.
Zach.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, I would say that, I mean, there was so much, right? And like you said, there was so much more that could have been said or, you know, put out there, but it just got to a point where we just had to cut it, right? I mean,
Bro, listen, if we wrote everything we saw, bro, y'all would still be
You're
losing
right.
right
yeah.
Oh
now.
my god.
You know what I'm saying? And like it was like we just kept editing and re-editing. I don't like this. I like this. This feels too much like we're for the club. This feels, you know what I'm saying? And like it's just a
So
lot
sick
of
of
stuff.
hearing that.
Huh?
So sick of hearing that. Just because we side with the club does not
Yeah.
mean we're with the club.
And that's a great point, bro. Because when the club makes a mistake, the first ones to criticize is us,
Yep.
right? Like
Yep.
with PSLs, we dragged that till our like we couldn't anymore, right? And we know, and it's still wrong, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in this particular scenario, just because, yeah, like it feels like we're more for the club side, but it's because of the things that we found out, right?
Yeah.
Not
Well, I
because
mean,
we're just here making assumptions of things, right?
100%, 100%. But the thing is like we don't have the athletic behind us. We don't have, you know, the observer behind us, right? We're fan media, Jorge, man. We don't know a damn thing.
That's exactly how it came out.
And not
It
just
really
that,
is.
like you just said it, Lee. Like you guys are fans first, you know. Like obviously you're gonna lean a little towards the, you know what I'm saying. It's not like completely towards the club, but like you're obviously gonna show some sort of support with the things that your club is doing. It's not like you're always just gonna disagree, because then what's the point of being a fan of the club? You know. That's why whenever I hear the sentiment of you guys just being like diehard, like Charlotte FC, you know, like supporters all the way and not just criticizing anything, I'm like you said, you're the first ones to criticize the wrong things that they're doing. Like y'all made a headline out of it, you know, like quite literally with the Major League Soccer and stuff,
Yeah,
with the whole we're screwed thing. Like
right.
if you wanted to just put out the good things, you wouldn't be putting stuff out like that. So it's like little
100%. I love it, man. And then just I want to touch a little bit more on the Fuchs presser. So I just got a quick clip, and I want your thoughts on it.
For most parts, it was not the easiest. It was a place within the locker room, within the players, where it was great, but there was certain fractures between us and the coaching staff at the non-verbal communication, and it was very interesting to see how, I would say, with how much relief players were approaching the training, with a lot of smiles. But then also when it was time to train, how players, and you guys have not been there anymore when we did tournaments, with how much intensity they were training. So the rumors can be right or wrong. In that case, they are wrong. I mean, I spoke to a lot of players throughout the weeks, and they all love to be here. Honestly, it's a really good group of players that like to be together, like to work hard together, and that like to be successful together. Again, I'm referring back to Christian Lattanzio. He has been working in the background a lot individually with players, trying to help them better their game with video analysis on the field, then work with Mackenzie, for example, who showed tremendous improvement. Brand Bronico, I mean, I think he spent hours with Christian Lattanzio just on the screen, adjusting his positioning and his understanding of the game.
A lot to decipher out of there, man. And I want to touch on the Christian Lattanzio piece last, because I want to talk a little bit about him as well. But I mean, some of the things that Fuchs confirmed to us, there was a cultural fracture between the players, I guess mostly the veteran players, the important players, not that everybody isn't important, and the coaching staff, right? Another thing he addressed, which I thought was interesting, which we found out as well, right? That you know, Karol Swiderski never made those comments and never threatened to quit the team. And I know from a really good source that, like, when I found out that wasn't true, that's the first thing I tweeted out, right? Because that was something I knew that was important for people to know. If anything, most of Carroll's complaints, which Fuchs mentioned also, was the lack of fitness that there was in the trainings. One of the things that this good source told me about Swiderski was like, man, one of his biggest complaints was, I'm not fit enough and I want to train more. I want to be able to be fit. And that wasn't happening in the training sessions. And the lack of working in the final third, which we can all see on the field, was also another issue. So he definitely had legitimate issues. Now, what I can confirm is the way that he presented those issues. Maybe Carroll didn't present them in the best way. Maybe he did. We don't know that. But the one thing we do know is that he had specific issues with that. And even today, Fuchs mentions it in this press conference that the lack of fitness there is in this team, right? Well, I don't want to say in the team, but like it's evident that that was something that wasn't worked on. Yeah. So I guess we'll start off with you, Brian. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back
to the people in the comments as well. Sorry.
I think it goes back again. The big thing is like, look at how different the gap is between how they're talking about the team as a whole between Fuchs and Miguel. I think that's, again, the first thing that pops out to me is just like how differently they talk about what the capability of the team is. I think that's one of the first things. I think also like talking about training and the intensity of training. I'm really excited to see whatever the result ends up being, just how they look on the field in terms of after an intense week of training. Because it really sounds like they're going to bring it in practice this week. That's like the one other big thing it sounds like is like the players are ready to really start bringing it. And also how they seem to really have this desire to learn. And Miguel didn't seem to really provide that open space for them to learn and grow in, which is like literally the reason they brought him here. Like, that was the whole thing. He's an academy guy. He develops players, right? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, they're developing stars in Charlotte. We're bringing in young players, and they're going to become MLS stars in Charlotte FC. We're not bringing stars. We're developing stars. That's why we got an academy guy. That's why. So, like, that's what blows my mind the most out of it is, like, Fuchs is like, I mean, and that's got to be, like, frustrating for Fuchs because that's got to be the whole vision. That's the whole thing. Like aggressive style of play that young players are going to develop and learn and grow into big time players with.
Well, I think he continued on from there too, talking about, how physical the MLS is. And look, if we're going to play 90, 100 minutes, then we need more of this training, and he, I mean, even Fuchs himself kind of bitched about the turf too, in that clip too. Right. I mean, he said, right, we got the turf, we got the heat, and we got the lack of fitness, and that cost us in a few games more so away because at the home, they kind of get the fans behind them, and that gives them that extra, that extra boost. But away, they don't have that. And he just literally said, like, I'm implying this part, but he said like around like 78th minute, they were just tired out and just didn't have the legs left.
Right. 100%.
And that all does fall on like the coaching staff itself. It can't just be. I know someone mentioned fitness also has. Someone in the comment section mentions that fitness also takes place outside of the field. But if you're training, like, and you're not getting the most out of your players, if you're not tiring them out, if they're not getting any better, what's the real point of training then?
Yeah,
So
I mean, he even said, Fuchs even went on to say that the training should be harder than the game. Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
You train hard and then you go out and you just play. Right. And you shouldn't be as worn out after the game as you are at training, where currently it sounds like it's vice versa, though, just completely worn out after the game and not,
and it's
in practice. What's that?
And it's about to get real hot. Like a lot of these European players that are on our team are not going to be used to the Southern heat. Fuchs is one of those players, right?
But we play at 3 this weekend.
Yeah. And it's going to be like probably 95 or something. It's going to be, and so that's how it's going to be all summer in Charlotte. So like that home field advantage can easily slip if they're not ready to go. So it's another big point that Fuchs mentioned there. Is like they've got it. I mean, because the next 2-3 months are going to be brutal in Charlotte.
Yeah, and I mean also, one of the things that I asked Fuchs, right, and you saw at the beginning was, do you feel like the team was performing because of Miguel or in spite of Miguel? He didn't truly answer it, but his answer is more on the lines of like, we were succeeding in spite of Miguel. And I think it's fair to say, and a fair assessment from the fan base to say, well, we need to see that, right? Are we going to see an improved squad? Are we going to see the same squad? Or are we going to see a squad that goes backwards, right? And so if this is coming from a player, right, then that's something that we need to see. I don't think necessarily the result will tell us, but I think the way we play is, to me, the most important thing, because that's one of the things we didn't complain under Miguel. We saw that there was progression, right? We saw that we were staying in those playoff spots, right? But if you're saying that it was in spite of Miguel, we should see a better performing team at least, right? And if not, if all else, if we stay the same and the culture in the locker room and around the offices gets better, that's also a win in my opinion.
Well, to be fair, we have bitched about how slow the play's been.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm hoping it picks up. It sucks for our new guests coming in the town, the Redbull, right? They're probably gonna just really. I got a feeling the guys, new coach bounce, right? They've had a break, they're ready to go. We're at home. I mean, there's a lot of pluses for us versus you guys, boss.
Except that your head coach is a former NYCFC guy, and the Red Bulls just like to eat those guys up.
Yeah, I mean, his resume. I mean, it's like West Ham, right? Man City. I mean, the only good thing I see on there is England. Whatever.
Right. And then speaking a little bit on Christian Lattanzio, man, it was pretty interesting that piece that that Fuchs talked about. Where he said that players that improved under him, under Lattanzio, he spent a lot of one-on-one time with Ben Bender. He's spending time with Mackenzie Gaines, getting him better. He spent time with Brant Bronico, right? And it was pretty interesting that I remember this in one press conference where, Miguel spoke really highly of Brant. And I asked Brant, because he was the next person that came in, I was like, Brant, Miguel talked really highly of you and your improvement. And I was like, how have you developed under Miguel, right? And I'm not like saying Brant loved him or hated Miguel, but you can definitely see a demeanor change when he started talking about it. And he said, it's not just Miguel, it's Lattanzio, it's all the coaching staff. And that's the reason why I've improved, right? So, I mean, just little small things like that I didn't catch in the past that now make sense. You know what I'm saying? For a player to kind of change his demeanor and not give specific credit just to the coach, but want to give all the credit to the whole coaching staff really says a lot.
Man, you threw Brant under the bus. Watch this. This is going to take off, dude. Brant, watch. It's going to go, dude. Yeah.
I'm giving an example.
No. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm just saying, man, out there in Twitter land, this shit's about to get nasty for some reason.
Yeah.
Over nothing.
Thompson said that Brant wanted Miguel out.
Ultimatum.
Yeah.
Right.
Still.
Right. What are you expecting, maybe, Lee, under Lattanzio? What would you like to see more of? I know one of the things that we mentioned even in our article was that there's a lack of work in the final third, and that came from a lot of people, not just one person, right? And right. I'm like, it's very obvious on the field that when the players get to that last third of the field, like they pass the ball back or they don't know what to do. But I think, like we talked about that. Was that more coaching or the players? And we said it was a little bit of both. But now, from our findings, it seems like it was more on the coaching than it was on the players.
Well, that goes back to what I said last week about Bender used to be putting crosses in, and he no longer does that, right? And that sort of thing. But, I mean, again, I would imagine that they're working on corners, right? Because we all know how well those go for us, right? I just want to see – I don't mind the style of play that we had. It just needs to be quicker, and better decisions need to be made in that final third. Like you said, right? We would just kind of turn around and all the way back to Kalina. I mean, if we're playing possession football, then so be it. But, like, don't be scared to pop shots at goal, man. Like, keep the keeper on his toes, keep that defender or whoever's the guy in front of him, like, knowing that, hey, like, they're just going to try to pass it around us. I'm just going to stand here versus he's trying to take a 18-yard shot for once, I would prefer that than just going all the way back.
For real, yeah.
I'd also like to see some, like, a few more higher percentage shots too. Like, I mean, obviously shots from outside the box, just getting shots on goal. But I think, like, especially from our main attacking players, like, I mean, Carroll's on international break, but, like, in the coming month, like, can we get Carroll closer to goal more frequently? And then also, like, God, if there's another cross that comes in and there's not a back post runner, like,
Please.
goodness gracious.
God, man.
I mean, it's like organizational thing. Like, so like that's just an organizational thing. Like, hey, when the ball's on the wings, near post, far post, like it's like that's like pretty basic organizational.
The times we have had a runner on the back post, I believe we scored.
Yeah, Carroll and Shinyashiki. It's been like 2 times, and it's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
And so like every other time, it's just like, whoa, everybody's at the 18. And so I think that's a big thing. And it goes back to corner kicks too. Like it's an organizational thing. Like if Ben Bender is guarding like an Aaron Long, like he did in the last time they played, I mean, he literally was guarding Aaron Long on corners. Like that's a huge disorganization. I mean, Ben Bender is a rookie, and Aaron Long is a U.S. men's national team, like very, very, very talented player. And he's built like a truck. Like he's and Bender is not, right? So like
when we do it on the corners, also don't put everybody up. Like at least keep one man at midfield, right?
Yeah, and not have it be TT, who's an attacking midfielder. Have it be a fullback or a defensive midfielder. So like there's just like those organizational things that are like pretty basic that just seem to get missed because they were focusing a lot of time on possession and numerical advantages in spaces.
And I forgot that our first goal also came from a corner. Remember, Adam Armour's goal.
Oh yeah, right.
We always remember the Olympico, but we never remember that corner from Adam Armour. And then honestly, I'll let Voss also share his thoughts. But also, I think the team needs, like, when we play physical teams like Red Bull, like they tend to bully us. You know what I'm saying? And so that's something that I'd like to see improve too. Maybe that's a fitness thing. Maybe that's more of a character thing. And so that's something I'd also love to see improved under Lattanzio. Voss, give us your thoughts, man.
So I think you guys brought up some incredible points when it came to trying to focus on corner kicks, try to be a little more physical. Because I don't know, I'm not sure if it's the coaching staff, like we mentioned before, with the lack of just preparation for the team through training, but it always seemed to me that like you guys would start slow, and I don't know if it was from building out of the back or you just ended slow as well. Like you had a great portion, like a great 70 minutes of a match, and then like first 10 and last 10 are usually like very questionable. So I don't know if it's something that with Miguel Angel Ramirez just leaving, it can, they could turn that switch. But I do strongly believe in when you fire a coach, the team always just wants that result for the team itself.
Right.
So it's, like because they're proving to themselves at this point, like if we lose, it's literally on us. It's not on the coach, like, so I think it's a lot of good matchups for the Red Bulls, personally speaking, just because of the fact that they're a physical team. They always like to start strong. They like to start on the front foot. And unless I don't know, I can't see, I don't know if we're going to get into the analysis of the match, but man for man, I think that like the Red Bulls midfield can be out muscling a lot of the players like a Ben Bender, because like Cáceres Jr., I can see him going up against a Torres, or I could see Harrison Alpha with like a Lewis Morgan, like that. I'll favor Lewis Morgan with that matchup any day of the week. Brent Bronico is like the one big worry in my opinion, because that guy's I've always showered him with praise from like the moment that he stepped on the field. You can tell he's like a clearly like hot-headed player, likes to get into the tackling. He doesn't mind just like being the bully, not getting bullied.
Yeah,
but
100%. Awesome.
And yeah, I know you brought up the corner kick aspect of it. The fact that Aaron Long and Ben Bender were like matched up together.
Bro.
Brian, yeah, I don't know what that was. So hopefully it's less of that with Lattanzio, just noticing like little bits of the match that they could improve on and get a better result. I'm personally hoping they don't, but just for the team's sake, like the fundamentals just got to be there, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, even one of the things that Fuchs mentioned too was like they were confused with, the constant tactical changes week in and week out of the team, right? So
yeah, like are you building out of the back? Are you going to be a pressing team? Are you going to absorb pressure and try to counterattack? Like I never really understood which was the approach,
Exactly.
I don't think the players did either.
Yeah, they didn't. And even one of the things that like Miguel, like this is from a conversation I had with a player, they're like, We don't understand why Miguel is asking for more players when he plays the same players all the time. And he's saying, I don't have enough players. He's like, you have a roster of 28 and you're not using all of us, right? So like, that's fine if he doesn't rate them, but bro, at least give them the chance, right? You know what I'm saying? So like, we didn't see enough of Anton Walks. We didn't see enough of Jan Sobochinski in the back. And it wasn't like Makoun's been lighting up the center back position, right?
Yeah. That was
all
one of my biggest questions.
Yeah, I want to take. I start a couple of questions, and we'll go through them as well. So, are there any players who will benefit or really suffer after the Mar moves?
I think Walks will.
Yeah, I think Walks will definitely benefit from the Mars move. It'd be interesting. Go to his last Instagram post and look at what Harrison Afool had to say. That was very interesting. I think he'll benefit. Sergio will probably benefit as well. Maybe we'll see Jan get a couple more minutes as well. You know, I think what will benefit is players in the final attacking third. Maybe Yazviak, decides to, attack more 1v1 situations as well. Because apparently since they weren't training on it, maybe he was shying away from it.
Yeah. I think also just almost any player that wasn't, I mean, you guys touched on most of the players that weren't getting minutes, but any player that wasn't like pretty much solidified in the starting 11, it's like almost like a second preseason in terms of like another tryout, another chance to convince the coach, another chance to show your impact and your potential impact into the system and into the team. So like, I'd say there's an opportunity here for almost every player on the roster. And this probably goes back to why you get a boost right after, because there's a lot new intensity, a new opportunity for a lot of these players that maybe didn't work their way into a regular playing, getting regular minutes. They have a fresh opportunity to try to get those.
Awesome. This is a good question too. How many matches do we give the new coach until we see if the right move was made or not?
End of the season.
Yeah.
Okay. End of the season. That's a really hard question to answer, man. I mean, I think from the beginning, what I wanted to see was a team that can compete, that was difficult to beat, and that like was in and around playoff spots. These are all the things that I still demand. And based on what Fuchs is saying, and I guess the sentiment of the players, they feel like the squad is there to compete at a higher level as well. So hopefully we see that. We see improvements. We see just a better team that still competes and can be within that playoff range spot.
There's so many variables to that question.
Yeah, it is, bro.
Can't just say A or B, right?
Yeah.
All right. Next question that I have. Do we expect a formation or style change, or is it going to be the same? I think it's going to be the same.
Yeah. Yeah, he was still his assistant for a reason. So, I mean, they're going to have similar philosophies in the way they approach the game. And so, I mean, it's not like you're going to have two different types of philosophies as in the same coaching staff. So
100%. Yeah, and I mean, like the philosophy of the club, which I think is important, that I think this is something that the front office is trying to do, right? You know what I'm saying? Is kind of establish a style of play from the beginning. Like we always want to be known as a team that likes to play possession-based attacking football. If that's our identity and that's what we want to stick to, like I'm like, that's exactly what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like I know people give Mars a lot of stick on that Seattle game for putting in two wingers at minute 70 when we were winning 1-0. But you know what? Like I'd rather lose like that than lose like feeling like the team was just playing defensively.
What are you talking about, the Seattle game?
Yeah.
No, I would rather us sit back, man. We're 1-0 up against Seattle on the road, man. It's like, shit, I'll park the bus for 20 minutes. Give me some bullshit tactics, man. Just run the clock down, man. Take the 3 points and go, man. We'll play better next week.
Nah, man. I mean, I got to disagree on that one. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather stick
I don't know what you're saying. I don't understand.
Speculating, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Do you also think the squad looked happier, more hyped than usual? That's really hard to tell in the 15 minutes that we're there, but that's the overall feeling. I don't think it's just the squad. I think it's front office. I think it's staff members. I think it's a lot more people than we really know that have like this sense of like relief now,
Yep. I think Teddy's got a serious question too above that one.
What did he say?
How will the coaching change impact DJ Fannie Mae's set list?
Listen, you better continue to play some Spanish.
Yeah,
That's all.
they're going to go more European now, right? You get
That's hilarious. Awesome. And then let's get to it finally, bro. Let's talk about New York Red Bulls this weekend. We're sitting 2 points off of playoff spots. After all these changes, hopefully, there's a bright side to this. Voss, last time I had you on, we lost. If we lose again, bro, you're not coming back on the show. No, I'm just kidding.
You just got to keep on bringing me on, bro. Come on. That's what we got to do. Anytime we play the Red Bulls, just quick 3 points.
So talk to us about Red Bulls, man. I mean, obviously, we saw them in U.S. Open Cup.
dirty players, man.
Hey, going back, it was a chippy game, man, for both sides. A lot of fouls, not a whole lot of fluid play. I could agree on that. But the Red Bulls, man, since that Charlotte game, I have to say things have been looking a lot better for them. They're scoring freely. The players are all clicking, and they finally won at home. That's the main thing, man. They finally won a match at home. It had been a very long start to the season, and they'd probably be in first place in the East if they had just picked up one more home win and a draw. Like losing to Minnesota was crazy to start the season, but they're coming off a 4-1 win from against DC United, and we had a whole lot of goal scorers. We had Luquinhas turning into a prime Kaká man in that number 10 role, just late runs into the box, screamer of a goal, made team of the week. Lewis Morgan's talking about having to try to play his way back into the Scotland national team, and he's been doing a good amount of work for that. He has 2 Player of the Week awards, 2 Team of the Week appearances. He had a Player of the Week award when he had that hat trick against Toronto. So the attacking pieces are looking really good, but the only thing that I have to look back on is, although we did win against you guys in Montclair, we did win against DC United at home, we looked terrible against an Inter Miami team that I think I mentioned before never seemed to impress me from the beginning of the season up until now. They just did not look like a good squad. So to see us put up our worst performance on the road against that team, a little worrying, especially against, like we just mentioned, a team that is up for a game. Coaches got sacked. They're at home, and they literally have almost nothing to lose. I know it's 2 points from a playoff spot, but whether you guys win that or lose that, I don't think it's going to have a huge dent on the expectations of the rest of the season. Because let's say you do get those 3 points and you're in the last spot for a playoff spot, can it continue? And if you drop out of it, is it going to be looked at as a failure of a season, as opposed to if you guys don't pick up the 3 points and you build on a possible good performance, at least to get a draw, and try to build off that. It just sets the expectations a little lower for the players and for the fan base. I know it's not something you guys want to hear, but it's
no, we're gonna
always
win.
Yeah, I know you guys definitely need to win. Of course,
we are gonna win.
You are gonna win. I don't know. I'm smelling a draw. In all honesty, I gotta.
We don't draw, man. We don't ever do that.
Bank of America is only win or lose. They go hard or go home.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I feel like I sense a draw coming, gentlemen. Our
players gonna be up for it. I feel like they're gonna be up for it. Like
they got something to prove, man.
Up for it. I feel like, and this is something that I want you guys to answer, especially the Charlotte FC boys. And everybody in the comments. What do you want to see from Charlotte FC this weekend? From our players, from our team. Obviously, the fans, bro, we bring it every single weekend that there's a home game and away games, to be fair. That I have no problem. I know that the stadium's going to be buzzing. Like somebody said in the comments, we're going to be behind our players. But what would you guys like to see from the team?
I think intensity. That's what Fuchs talked about this week. It seems like that's really what the training looks like this week is we're planning on upping the intensity, getting our fitness stronger. So I just want to see a bit of that. I want to see, because Red Bulls are going to play physical. They're going to play a high press. They're going to play high energy. And chippy. Just, I mean, there's no way. Like, that's just how Red Bulls force you into that kind of game. They like, you're gonna play our way, and we're gonna press high, and we're gonna like foul each other all day. Like, that's just kind of how that's their style, and so it forces you into that style a little bit. You can't play pretty around it, and so we got to be ready to bring that intensity too, and be ready to bring that same fight. And at times we showed it in the U.S. Open Cup match. So hopefully this week of an more intense training that Fuchs is again advertising, seeing that on the pitch, and maybe not seeing the slow start that is like pretty common for us, especially against good opponents that don't start slow. Like the Red Bulls are not, like, I just would not bet on them coming out of the gate slow. And so we desperately cannot come out of the gate slow. So I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, I totally agree, Brian, because the slow starts and the building out the back is, I mentioned the last episode that I was on. It plays into the Red Bull system like perfectly, because it's just unlike the Charlotte team, this Red Bulls team's fitness is what they pride themselves most on. Like, they might not be the most technical bunch, but they will run for 120 minutes if they have to, like solid in heat. You know, they don't care. But
that's been the problem, though, right? Because we started scoring early, and then we didn't score and was leaking goals early, and that kind of did a whole 180, and then we're left chasing that game, right? Man, Jacob, dude, I am mad at Jorge and his take on the Seattle game, and yeah, it's just been a shitty day.
Keep going, Lee. What were you talking about?
Wow, it looks so mad. I'm over here just spinning something to kind of keep my foot from tapping, man. Yeah.
No.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Jacob. I'm mad because I want cheaper beer so we could throw more beer when we score 4 goals on Red Bulls this weekend.
Yeah, I agree for cheaper beers. Stadium beer prices are ridiculous, man. It's like 18 for like a Stella at Red Bull Arena at this point, and that shit is whack.
I'll be curious to see. Obviously, I'd like for us to go for a 4-3-3. I'd be curious to see who is going to be in our front line from the get-go. And I want to see if Fuchs is injured, who plays at that center back role next to Corujo. Will it be I mean, it's looking like it has to be Anton Walks, right?
If it's McCoon, man. If it's McCoon, no, he's not even playing. He's playing here. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's got to be Walks, right?
Yeah.
Unless Jan jumps him.
I would just do 3 center backs, man. I would just do 3 at the back.
They could put Derek Jones back there. What if he?
Yeah. We just put them all back there, everybody. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and maybe Voss, what is something that you saw that Charlotte FC lacked that against the Red Bulls in their game again in Open Cup? Because I know you obviously want to be bad.
So look, I am not gonna lie. I had watched the game, but the setting in which I watched this game was kind of hilarious because I had bought tickets to go see this group called Sophie Tucker at the Brooklyn Mirage, very nice club, with my girlfriend for her birthday. And it just so happened to start at 8 p.m. when the match was starting. So I was like waiting online in the club with my phone, I swear to God, like this, just like watching the game, like in between like songs and stuff. So I did get to fortunately rewatch the match, and I think a more cohesive organization from the midfield for you guys, and this is going to sound a little weird, but the best way to play against the Red Bulls is to let them play you, like to give them the ball and try to build an attack, because they usually can't. Yeah, it's weird. I know it sounds strange, but Red Bulls like usually like to force mistakes on the back line or force a turnover in the defensive midfield or center midfield spot and have like a 3-on-2 attackers outnumbering the opposing team's defenders and like get a good quick counterattack and goal like that. But you never really see like an 8, 9, 10 pass sequence from the Red Bulls leading to a goal. It's been years since Marsh left, like that was the last time we saw like good fluid soccer, because Red Bull soccer is just press, force a mistake, get a goal, and don't let up. Like once you smell blood, just go for it, because they can't hold leads either, man. Like we've been up 1-0 with literally like 90 seconds left at home and decided to concede against Columbus and lose a match. So
hey, this is a
weird.
Juan, man.
No, I swear, dude, guys, it's literally the best way to play against the wrestling
He's like,
team.
the best way is for everybody to get out the way and let us
Let us
score.
score,
Just let us play. Just trust
Go
me.
ahead
But
and
no,
have
no.
first and 5 before the halftime, man, and you're guaranteed.
Yo, man, I know. Look,
Sure.
it sounds very strange, but if you let the Red Bulls try to build an attack and score a goal, it's not gonna happen. It's gonna be from you guys trying to build out of the back, us having a player like Klimala pressure whoever's in defense in the center defensive spot or in the center back spot and lead to turnover and maybe pass it on for a Luquinha's goal. Or a giveaway, like I said, from a press, a shot out of nowhere, deflection, late runner. You know, that's how the Red Bulls have been scoring as of late. So it's not, like I said, it sounds weird to say, but if you play with a counter-attacking...
Believe you, I love it.
Boy, you've got to give this to Christian tomorrow, man, and tell him this is that game plan, man. This is on the Red Bulls. We got inside scoop, bro.
Right. But no, I'm telling you, that's the way. Counter-attacking, balls over the top. If you let the Red Bulls just go into your final third of your team and you get a long ball over the top, there's usually just like 1 to 2 players just trying to defend like a quick counter, and they usually get burned. If Darlington Nagbe can outrun like 3/4 of the team, literally 3/4 of the team, like I think Charlotte can as well. You got younger players, better squad.
And final thing I want to touch on is we got to get those score predictions in, and I want to hear from everybody in the comment. Everybody that's online, tell me what you think the score will be and who's scoring. I'm gonna start off with you, Brian.
3-2 Charlotte. I think there's gonna be a lot of goals. I think it's gonna be a chippy affair. I think we're gonna just see a real wild attacking game from both sides.
That 10-0.
Yeah, I'm going with 3-1. I don't care who scores as long as we get the 3.
Nice. Voss?
So look, last time I predicted that one player would score who often never scores. In 3 years, he's, I think, scored like 10 goals. As a forward, imagine getting paid to score goals and you only have like, maybe 2 in open play. But I'm guessing a 1-1 gritty tie for both sides. I think goals from Christian Cáceres Jr. and Andrea Shinishiki.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think we're gonna get a 2-0 win this weekend. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I don't really want the win, but I want.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
I said really want the win.
No, I said I don't.
Yeah, I'm working from behind the scenes right now.
I want the win more so because like I want the team to now focus on how we can improve and continue to be better, right? Kind of let's put Miguel kind of in the back burner now, right? And focus on saving our season. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I want a win to boost the morale of the team and boost the confidence in the fans that, that we're going to move forward no matter who's the coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. A win from Charlotte definitely provides that final stamp of closure this weekend for sure.
Nice. Any final thoughts you have, Lee?
No, not really. I'm just excited, man. I think it's going to be a great game Saturday. It's going to be hot as hell. Drink plenty of water. Put sunscreen on. Kiss your kids and
for sure. Brian, any final thoughts?
No, I hope the fans just come out. Come out ready to just party hard. I think that's the other thing I was a little concerned about when everything went down. It was just how would the fans react in bulk? I'm really want to see that 30K plus crowd doing that wave, that still blew my mind that we got that wave all the way around 3 straight times. So I want to see that again.
Nice. Now I'll answer this question real quick because I asked too. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to ask about this. And I mean, the people that I asked, I don't know, they didn't want to be. They just said that they felt like it was more of a Nick Kelly decision. Honestly, at the end of the day, I feel like I still don't buy it, but multiple people did tell me that. So I will say that. You know, they said they just felt like he just wanted to leave. You know, but at the end of the day, like I don't know if I can buy that or not. So I wanted to answer that real quickly. Voss, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I hope it's a great game more than anything. I hope everyone does stay hydrated. I know it should be hot down there. I have gotten to experience an 82-degree, Saturday there before, so I did the misfortune of not staying hydrated, not getting any bottles of water when I was on the sideline. So stay hydrated, folks. Very important. Also, I may be switching up my results just based off of this one prop behind me, but I think it might be a 2-0 result now because
Charlotte.
For Charlotte, what do you mean? It's gonna be red, like this lightsaber for the Red Bulls, man. Come on, look, that's a 2.
Yeah.
We got 2-zip. A Star
You're gonna-
Trek flight
We
and
have
a
to give you the
lightsaber.
ball now, and then we gotta have a red lightsaber. Oh man, that was happening.
We're gonna be literally slicing the opposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then this is my final thought, guys. At the end of the day, there's going to be coaches that come, coaches that go, front office people that will come, front office people that will go. Us who live here in Charlotte, who love the team, who breathe the team, we're always going to be here supporting whatever player we have, through the thick and thin. We're going to be here, bro. Like, I'm a testament of that because I'm sitting here watching Honduras lose 2-0 to Curaçao on a freaking Monday night, because I just love my team, right? No matter how great they are or no matter how shit they are, I'm going to be there supporting the team. And I feel like a lot of the fans have that same sentiment. And at the end of the day, if there's stuff that the club does wrong, we're definitely going to talk about it. But also if there's stuff that the club does right, we're also going to talk about it as well. And that doesn't mean that we're club people, right?
Thank you.
You
Right,
couldn't have
like,
said it any better, man.
People just want
Honestly,
us to be like us versus the club, bro. And the reality is sometimes the club is right about things, right? So, but that's just my final thoughts. Brian, my man, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at BA Mauer Media. You also find my work on Top End 90's brand new website.
Shameless plug.
And shameless plug too. Listen, if you have a business and you want to promote it on the Top Bin 90 website, DM me and I'll share some pricing with you. Yeah. Lee, where can we find you at?
All the socials at COTFC Fan TV. Come find us after this game though, because I'm super hyped about the fan interviews, the fan reactions after the game. Win, lose, or draw, man. It's gonna be legit. So yeah, and you'll see Jorge and I there tomorrow on our YouTube channel at 9 p.m. Eastern, kind of continuing this conversation.
For sure. Yeah, I think, and those are one of my favorite things after game day as well, like watching your fan cams.
Yeah, that's pretty legit.
Like what people have to say, even the little kids that you interview.
Some of those kids know more than the adults.
Yeah, for sure.
At least more than me.
For sure. Voss, my man, one member of the Soccer Sub podcast. Tell us a little bit about where we can find you at, bro.
of course, you can find me and my co-hosts on any of your favorite streaming platforms, from iHeartRadio to iTunes to Spotify. We do a little bit of YouTube content if you want to check that out. And of course, our Instagram and Twitter are where we are most active. And if you want to just find me in specific to try to just shit talk the Red Bulls' hopeful win on Saturday, my Instagram handle is on the Soccer Subs website and on the Instagram.
Awesome, bro. Hey, listen, bro. And you guys, like, people like say that, like, I'm always stalking players. Bro, you guys meet everybody and their moms everywhere you go. Every time I see a photo is of you with Chicharito or like some technical, like somebody, I'm like, bro, they find more people than I do. So
yeah, it's crazy, man. Look, so I got to give credit to Hugh, to Christian, and to Caio, to Danielito, because these guys, like, my co-hosts originally had started out as graphers, just trying to find, like, you heard that Chelsea's going to be in town, so you try to figure out the hotel. And they've gotten so good at this that they can see a player post a photo in a hotel, and I wish I was lying. This is a crazy little bit of info. So they'll see a player post a photo in a hotel, and through the background of a window, like, we know what window that is, and they'll go on Google Maps, look up the window, find the hotel, and we'll find the players, man. I swear to God, that is like literally what has happened. That's how we found the Galaxy when we were in Charlotte. I am not even kidding. It was
See?
crazy.
Y'all blaming me, but listen, Voss and these guys take it to another level.
Dude, the craziest thing was I remember making a left turn. I'm like, these guys usually are at a Sheraton hotel, or I forgot which was the hotel that is affiliated with the MLS. I'm like, they should be around here. So I made a left turn like inside of Charlotte, and I literally ran into like Greg Vanny, the head coach of the Galaxy.
Nice.
I was like, oh, what the fuck? That's crazy. Just if I made a right turn to go towards like Midnight Diner, I would have just missed it. So
Shout out Tequila House. I guess somebody saw me this weekend. Listen, I'm Hispanic. I like to party. What can I say, bro? You'll see me sometimes in Charlotte. Honestly, I'm getting recognized in a lot of places now, so maybe I'll have to like wear like a mask or something. So, but yeah, you can find us everywhere at Top Bin 90, at Real Top Bin 90 on TikTok, and on topbin90.com, our website. It's officially launched. I think the last time I saw our article today got a lot of praise. Even Tom Boggart mentioned it in his report of Charlotte FC today. And
that's amazing.
We got like 2,500 views on it right now so far. And so, yep, check out the website. We got a lot of cool stuff coming out. I got a special prize that I don't know if I'm going to be pushing it next week or the week after that. And, but yep, that'll be on there as well. So topbin90.com. Again, if you're a business and want to advertise on Top Bin 90, please make sure you DM me. With that, we end the show. Thank you guys for coming on another episode of the MLS Corner. Have a good night. Go!